We'll start with the investigation into attack on pro-Israel demonstration in Colorado.
Gathering.
Some psycho went up to a bunch of old Jewish people that were doing like a demonstration in support of Israel and tried to like light them on fire or something. He was shirtless, you know, just real insane. He had like Molotov cocktails or something, I guess. He used a flamethrower and threw a someone said there was a flamethrower as well. The protest was to free the hostages. Yeah, it was it was like a pro-Israel protest, but it doesn't matter what the protest was for. That's psychotic. What do you mean? Like, that's an insane thing to do. And this man is an insane person. Absolutely insane person. Thank God nobody died. Holy shit.
Community members in Boulder, Colorado. They were calling for the release of the hostages held by Hamas. 8 people hospitalized after witnesses say the attacker used a makeshift flamethrower.
Yeah, like, it does matter. You don't think a pro-Israel protest is psychotic in and of itself? Yes, it is. But you know what you can't do? Throw Molotov cocktails at it. What are you, stupid? Are you out of your mind? Come on, dude. Jesus Christ. Yeah, what do you think this is? Grand Theft Auto? What are you, insane? Are you out of your mind? Are you a federal agent?
And threw an incendiary device. The man was taken into custody at the scene. Mola Lengi is in Boulder with the latest. Good morning, Mola.
Well, good morning, George. The FBI investigating this as a potential targeted act of terrorism. Witnesses here describing just a horrifying scene at this outdoor pedestrian mall in Boulder. People being set on fire.
Officers rushing to the scene in Boulder, Colorado around 1:30 Sunday afternoon after receiving calls.
Yeah, he did. Great job for this guy. Almost lit a dude who I guess survived the Holocaust on fire. What are we doing? What the are you talking about? Are you insane? Like 87-year-old Jewish dude who like or Jewish woman who fucking survived the Holocaust getting lit on fire. Not exactly great, you know? Are you insane? There are a lot of instances of direct action that is valid, valuable, reasonable, okay? This is not even in the range of appropriate behavior. Get the fuck out of here. No one is actually even supporting it. Someone just like tried to say some dumb shit and I immediately clamped on it.
Of people being set on fire.
There's multiple mixed reports about if people are on fire now. We're getting lots of 911 calls.
Police responding to a suspect armed with what officials say was a makeshift flamethrower who allegedly threw an incendiary device into the crowd. Witnesses say he yelled "Free Palestine" during the attack.
I've never seen anything like this before in my entire life. It was absolutely gruesome.
The FBI investigating what they're calling a targeted attack on a group of peaceful demonstrators who were raising awareness on the remaining Israeli hostages in Gaza.
It is clear that this is a targeted act of violence, and the FBI is investigating
Why do you think they're doing this? Is it because people feel increasingly desperate? Because nothing they do changes the government's course? I think that's part of it, but like, we're in America, man. We're in the United States of America. What do you think? People are insane here. America is a uniquely violent country. And I think a lot of people just kind of forget how, again, uniquely violent of a nation this is. Like, there is a reason why the Palestinian movement, like, or Hamas, for example, has never had an instance of violence outside of the territory of historic Palestine. I talked about this when the embassy shooting happened, because they are laser focused on a singular goal of ensuring that the occupation ends. And in the process, do they personally engage in heinous acts of violence? Yeah, of course they have. It's ridiculous that that this kind of action is in any way, shape, or form associated with like the reasonable approach, like what the student movement has done. It's on the exact opposite end of the spectrum in terms of like productivity. It's not even like this is violence for the sake of violence and nothing more. It's senseless violence. That's it. It is utterly directionless. Going to a pro-Israel rally or going to a like free the hostages rally and dropping Molotov cocktails on like 87-year-olds is psychotic, dude. It completely psychotic, completely unacceptable. Not only is it inhumane and insane, it's also entirely counterproductive. That's it. I don't even think this dude is like an anarchist or anything like that. He was like a 40, 50-year-old guy, dude. I think he's a person who is unimaginably frustrated and like lost his mind. I mean, you're talking about a dude who took a shirt off to like try to, you know, use Molotov cocktails on a bunch of old people.
8 people between the ages of 52 and 88 injured. 2 airlifted to burn units, 1 in critical condition.
Yeah, from what I understand, he's an Egyptian national who overstayed his visa, yes. And now they're going to clamp down extra hard. Not only are they going to clamp down on, people like me, apparently Jonathan Greenblatt is trying to say that like I'm responsible for this again, which is so insane. It's so psychotic. The fuck are you doing, man? Again, yeah. Anytime any sort of like violence takes place against like a pro-Israeli rally or anyone out there, he just goes, oh, it's Hassan Piker's fault. Dude, what are you saying? What the kind of psychotic nonsense is this?
This video shows the suspect, according to an official briefed on the situation, holding what appears to be Molotov cocktails in front of a patch of burning grass, screaming at the crowd before being taken down by police.
He had 3 Molotov cocktails. One of them he threw inside of a group. At the group, and one lady lit on fire from head to toe.
There was a jug filled with the same stuff. I thought it was alcohol at first, but it smelled like gasoline. He was also taking this garden sprayer, basically, and spraying.
Every time a Palestinian is killed in the USA by some freak, do we now get to blame Greenblatt personally? Of course not. Like, of course not. He has literally gone on television and been like, oh, if you're wearing a keffiyeh, it's basically a swastika, right? He says that without any fucking just cause whatsoever. And yet, when people who are wearing keffiyehs get shot and paralyzed, like the shooter in Vermont that shot those 3 college students, obviously that's not Greenblatt's fault. You know what I mean? No one would ever say that because there's an overwhelming amount of, like, these things are not directional, okay? These things do not happen because of a singular person. Very rarely do these things happen because a person goes, oh, I got radicalized by this person and that's why I did it. It's a combination of systemic factors. Our social fabric is ripped apart at this point. Americans are insanely violent and insanely desensitized to violence. Part of that is because of all of the violence that we have subjected others to overseas, coming back around, all of the violence that American foreign policy creates for innocent individuals. America's basically like a PvP on Grand Theft Auto lobby. But no, when someone who is pro-Palestine is subjected to violence, I don't think it's Jonathan Greenblatt's fault either. Even though he does directly say things that would invoke a violent response that would urge people to take violent actions. It's also the same reason why I don't blame like Ethan Klein for, being detained by Customs and Border Patrol. You know what I mean? It's ridiculous.
Authorities identifying 45-year-old Mohammed Sabri Solomon as the suspect apprehended on scene.
This has every single sign of being a hate crime. The perpetrator was waiting for people who were engaging in peaceful activity. It was a group of Jews from Boulder who were making a stand for freeing hostages who've been in prison since October 7th.
Well, we're learning that the suspect was in the United States illegally, according to an official at the Department of Homeland Security. The Boulder County Jail database says the suspect is being held on a $10 million bond, in addition to a list of charges this morning, including attempted murder as well as murder. Now, we should note, according to police at least, that there have been no fatalities reported in this attack, but we are expecting more detailed, more formal information on these charges.
Yeah. Also, one other aspect of these kinds of like vigilante and I don't even want to call this like vigilante justice, because there is not, like, it's just a literally random unstable person behaving in an incredibly violent way. You know what I mean? It's like attempted mass murder, basically. It's like beyond vigilantism. Once again, revenge is not justice. Okay, this is something that I need to be very clear about. But outside of that, this is so perfectly designed for, one, the media cycle to immediately laser in on this. The dude himself is both Egyptian, I think he's Muslim, and a undocumented migrant. It is so perfect for the Trump administration to basically kill as many fucking pro-Palestine people as possible by sending them over to seek God and forgetting about them. You know what I mean? If there are members within mainstream media that look at the situation and think to themselves like what the repercussions might look like, they are not pushing for that at all. Like, they are not pushing for restraint. A similar thing happened already when this kind of random acts of violence was not taking place. As a matter of fact, hate crimes were taking place against people who were pro-Palestinian under the Biden administration, and they still actively kept repeating over and over again that peaceful nonviolent protests on college campuses that were super buttoned up were all actually heinous anti-Semitic acts of violence, the violence that people were being subjected to, right? They lied about that over and over again. And it gave a massive opening for Donald Trump to abuse and clamp down on as many student protesters as possible and start doing this insane immigration enforcement scheme. And now liberals are either quiet about it, supportive of it, like Deborah Lipstadt, Biden's anti-Semitism envoy. People like that are basically supportive of this kind of thing. And then there are some liberals who go, oh, maybe we're going a bridge too far here, lightly criticizing the Trump administration's actions. But when moments like this take place, when things like this happen, the media once again kicks into high gear and loses their mind on this. Like, oh, well, we have to be like, when you got liberal outlets turning around and basically saying like, we got to be more careful about who we let into the country. It's like, it's over. It's over. You are completely captive to the fascist administrative apparatus. You are doing their bidding. You are not thinking about liberalism, defending free speech, defending anything. You are allowing the Trump administration and the wave of hate that will come after this to take place. This is terrifying. Acts of violence such as this one are completely unacceptable. But the way to cover this is to single out this act of violence, say it's abhorrent, say it's unacceptable, instead of just like washing an entire movement with the same brush of violence to make it seem as though anyone that says free Palestine on a college campus is basically trying to light Jewish Holocaust survivors on fire that are 87 years old. Like, that's psychotic. What matters is what the administration is going to do in the aftermath of events like this. And I fear that they're going to actively suppress any kind of pro-Palestine speech. And the fact that the administration is basically saying like, we need to do what Israel is doing. Israel's doing a great job. We got to do exactly what they're doing should be terrifying for Americans. Okay. Israel has incredible censorship, even for the Israeli population. They have a military censor. They do not have free speech in Israel. America has free speech. So seeing so many of these like supposedly right-wing pro-free speech accounts unironically lap up whatever the the ADL is saying in an effort to get the government to go after people that they don't like, content creators that they don't like, simply because it's a position that I have taken is insane. Okay? Holy moly, this is terrifying. The U.S. ambassador to Israel would like to state for the record that journalists correctly reporting on well-documented Israeli massacres in Gaza are causing terrorist attacks. Reckless and irresponsible reporting by major U.S. news outlets are contributing to the anti-Semitic climate that has resulted in the murder of 2 young people at an Israeli embassy event in Washington last month and the attempted murder and terror attack on a group of pro-Israel demonstrators in Colorado Sunday. Without verification of any source other than Hamas and its collaborators, the New York Times, CNN, and Associated Press reported that a number of people seeking to receive humanitarian food box from the Gaza Humanitarian Fund were shot or killed by the Israeli Defense Forces. These reports were false. Drone video and first-hand accounts clearly showed that there were no injuries, no fatalities, no shooting, no chaos. It is Hamas that continues to terrorize and intimidate those who seek food aid. The only source for these misleading, exaggerated, and utterly fabricated stories came from Hamas sources, which are designed to fan the flames of anti-Semitic hate that is arguably contributing to violence against Jews in the United States. Media sources who willingly parrot these libelous allegations should recant their fake news stories, apologize, and pledge to practice actual reporting. Say 10 Am Israel highs for you. Okay, here is Yona Lieberman from If Not Now that presents a great point. The news cycle underway will include countless people talking about how the attack in Boulder came only 10 days after the attack in D.C. In that time, Israel's killed 700 plus people in Gaza. The horrors in Gaza do not justify violence here, but that fact should be known. It's so incredible that this is the quiet part being said out loud. There is a reason why Israeli envoys, ambassadors to Israel, and numerous Israeli politicians in the aftermath of violence like this will quickly turn around and say, you know who bears the responsibility here? People who are correctly pointing out Israel's violent actions, because they are the ones who are radicalizing people. That's an insane statement to make. Like, it's not just people like myself, right? Obviously, the ADL has directed the crosshairs, directed the attention at me specifically, because right after the Israeli embassy staffer shooting and right after this, Jonathan Greenblatt goes on television and immediately goes, this is Hassan's fault. which is psychotic. Jonathan Greenblatt has played a larger role in the dangerous conflation of Jews and Israel, more so than anyone else. I work to try every single day to decouple Judaism and Zionism from one another, when Jonathan Greenblatt and many others are actively trying to say, no, 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 no. You don't understand. This is the truth. It is what it is. Israel is doing this for Jewish people. It's horrifying. Here it is.
And what I really want is, whether it's social media influencers on Twitch and YouTube like Hassan Piker, or other kind of promoters of hate on YouTube and TikTok like Guy Christensen, or like, you know, these speakers at these graduations. It just happened.
Yeah, see? All of his smoke is for, like, speakers at graduations. Like, people that say Israel's doing a genocide, which is correct. Israel is doing a genocide. People like myself who correctly say Israel's an apartheid state doing a genocide. People that are speaking at graduation correctly pointing out that Israel's doing a genocide. These are the people who are radicalizing people. It's like, no, dude, it's the fucking fact that Israel's doing a genocide that is radicalizing people. That's insane. Like, the argument that a lot of these guys are trying to present here basically is that Israel should be able to do a genocide, and you shouldn't actually call it out, because if you call it out, then you're radicalizing people against Israel. You're radicalizing people to doing violence. That's an insane statement. Do you not care about the violence that Israel is subjecting the Palestinian people to? Obviously, Jonathan doesn't give a shit. His stated purpose, his singular goal is basically to, you know, do propaganda at the behest of Israel.
The other day at MIT, spreading blood libels about the Jewish people or the Jewish state, it creates the conditions in which this kind of act is happening with increasing frequency. We've got to stop it once and for all. I hope the Trump administration will do just that.
Well, the fact...
Yes, for the record, yes. It's not just me. It is the United Nations that's also contributing to the radicalization. People obviously try to hone in and laser focus on their assessments here. They try to hone in and laser focus on targets that are priority targets for them. But yes, just like this U.S. ambassador to Israel is claiming here, Michael Huckabee, it's all the journalists. When Israel actually ends up killing hundreds of Palestinians, overwhelming majority women and children and the elderly, and the media reports on it as Israel has done this, all of a sudden, this is blood libel. All of a sudden, you're like, whoa, whoa, what are you doing? You're bringing attention, negative attention to the state of Israel. You are a very easy target. I don't think I'm a very easy target. I'm just someone who he can singularly focus on to actively pressure and try to get banned. And it's because I'm one of the biggest targets. That's it. I'm one of the loudest voices with a major platform. Obviously, yeah, getting banned off Twitch is the least of my worries, but Alonzo responds to Eyal, who said, you know what we never see? Pro-Israelis violently attacking Palestinians in the United States. I keep hearing Zionists are violent, yet only one side continuously perpetrates heinous acts of terrorism, which of course is obviously an incredibly stupid thing to say. U.S. woman indicted for attempt to drown 3-year-old Palestinian American girl, stabbed 26 times, a 6-year-old Palestinian child killed, and his mother injured in a hate crime. After chemical attack on pro-Palestine students, Colombia won't back down. Colombia protected the person who actually pepper sprayed the pro-Palestinian students in Columbia campus. Obviously, there's the Palestinian student that was shot in Vermont and is paralyzed from the chest down. All of those instances. Also, the encampments the Zionists attacked in UCLA. That was another crazy instance. There's the guy in Miami who shot the 2 Israelis who he thought were Palestinian. And I'm repeating myself over and over again. For some people that are in media, sure, they think this is a great way to defend Jewish people, right? For many, it's about defending the state of Israel. But for the administration, this has nothing to do with defending Israel and nothing to do with, even less to do with defending Jews, and everything to do with eroding the First Amendment, shredding free speech, eroding it by continuing along the same state trajectory that accelerated state surveillance in the aftermath of 9/11. This is precisely what's going on, and so many people do not understand how dangerous this is. If you think even for a moment that Trump cares about Jewish people, you are the biggest delusional on the planet. Trump does not give a singular solitary about Jewish people. There are an endless amount of pro-Israeli groups that have masqueraded as Jewish advocacy groups that actively have a lot of speaking space and a lot of influence in liberal circles, both in mainstream media and in liberal circles in general. Trump recognizes, or at least Trump's advisors recognize, the influence and power that these groups have. Their goal is to undermine the First Amendment. Their goal is to undermine free speech. And that is the reason why they're doing this by the point of immigrant enforcement first and foremost, because they think this is the most successful, the easiest route into undermining First Amendment protection. And they're using the existing network of influence of Jewish advocacy groups that are actually Israel advocacy groups to do this, to move alongside the guidelines that Project Esther outlined. Okay, that's it.